The plane that accidentally flew into space. Test pilot Joe Walker was strapped into the X-15, a vehicle built to break all speed records, on the steamy morning of August 22, 1963, ready to rocket through the sky at an astounding 4,520 miles per hour. 10 years prior, the F-86D Sabre, the fastest plane in the world, reaching a speed of 698 miles per hour, had broken the record. However, at this moment, Walker was preparing to smash that record 7 times over. The X-15 was more like a missile than an airplane, infamous for being among the riskiest aviation endeavors. Equipped with the massive XLR-99 liquid propellant engine that could produce an incredible 57,000 pounds of thrust, every test flight perched precariously near the brink of catastrophe. Pilots like Walker constantly tested the limits, donning spacesuits to endure near-orbital flights and the fiery ordeal of reintegration. To avert a disastrous malfunction, NASA limited Walker's elevation to 400,000 feet, a ceiling designed to keep him alive. Just 1,500 pounds of extra thrust might launch him into space, causing his fast-moving re-entry to explode in a deadly fire. Launched into the air at speeds comparable to those of an intercontinental ballistic missile, Walker had no idea he was going to breach a historic threshold. Then, in a split second, the breathtaking curvature of Earth and the incomprehensible blackness of space stretched out before him. Sergeant Joseph A. Walker was one of the few pilots who had a shot at piloting the swiftest aircraft ever created by humans. The stakes were enormous. Every flight carried the risk of exploding in a ball of fire in midair. The X-15 test flight program was an incredible aeronautical achievement of the mid-20th century, challenging pilots with iron nerves and unparalleled skill. The U.S. Air Force's top aces were chosen for the X-15 program, as well as those from the U.S. Navy, experienced in maneuvering high-performance screamers and experimental jets. Beyond their pilots' flying abilities, they endured severe physical and mental testing to ensure they could withstand the extreme physical demands and quick decision-making at the boundary of space. It required a lot of engineering, know-how, equipping them to delve deeply into the complex systems of the X-15 and perform on-the-spot troubleshooting. Walker got his first taste as a weatherman in the Army Air Forces during World War II, serving as a reconnaissance pilot. After the war, he became a member of the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics NACA as an experimental physicist before transitioning to work as a test pilot for the agency. Walker moved to the X-15 program in 1958, when NACA transformed into NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. NASA launched its first mission on March 25, 1960, which was also Walker's maiden X-15 flight. His aptitude for solving problems was tested to the breaking point as he dealt with in-flight malfunctions and breakdowns, which, given the X-15's innovative design, were all in a day's work. The hazards were enormous. Traveling at Mach 6 through the atmosphere meant even small slips could have disastrous consequences. At these speeds, the strong aerodynamic heating could endanger the structural integrity of the craft. The high elevations presented risks such as cabin depressurization and unusual radiation levels. Even with an escape system, its reliability under various conditions was uncertain, making every emergency a potentially lethal trap. Additionally, the strong G-forces could knock a pilot out or disorient him, adding even more danger to the life-threatening flights during forceful maneuvers. There were also risks inherent in the job when strapping yourself to what was essentially a massive rocket with a fuel reserve lasting no more than 90 seconds. Building such a daring and deadly aeronautical device was a risky endeavor, but a necessary advancement in both space exploration and hypersonic travel. As the clouds of the Cold War grew more ominous, NACA collaborated with the Air Force and Navy to lead the X-Series program. The goal of this groundbreaking project was to push aviation beyond its preconceived boundaries. The hypersonic superplane X-15, the centerpiece of the venture, was intended to breach the sky faster than Mach 6 and soar to astounding heights of more than 46 miles. Should humans ever make it to space, the X-15 would mark the initial stride in that direction. Measuring 50 feet in length and weighing around 33,300 pounds when launched, the X-15 wasn't your typical aircraft. During that historic flight, White piloted the plane to an amazing height of 314,750 feet, or around 59.6 miles high, circling just beneath the Kármán line, which is 62 miles above sea level and is the acknowledged border of space. The X-15 was outfitted with a sophisticated reaction control system (RCS), specially equipped to face the challenges of near-space conditions. This arrangement allowed for precise steering at heights where traditional aerodynamic control surfaces, like rudders and ailerons, would falter due to the thin atmosphere. Thanks to the RCS, pilots like White and Walker were able to maintain control and navigate effectively at the edge of space, demonstrating the critical role the X-15 played in pushing the limits of human flight. Although White was granted astronaut wings, he had not crossed the Kármán line. Thus, in a technical sense, reaching space aboard the X-15 remained possible. The X-15 program's management had great expectations for flights 90 and 91, intending to assess the aircraft's performance at an incredible elevation of 360,000 feet, well above the International Aeronautical Congress's recognized boundary of space. On July 19, 1963, pilot Joe Walker was given the mission of outperforming Robert White's earlier accomplishments. The engine of the X-15 was supposed to fire for 83 seconds, enabling Walker to reach a maximum velocity of Mach 5.4 and a height of 314,961 feet. Walker was also expected to launch a specialized balloon to monitor air density, while additional onboard research included an ultraviolet photometer to measure Earth's background radiation and an infrared photometer to analyze the aircraft's exhaust signature. The mission began at Edwards Air Force Base, with the X-15 strapped under a modified B-52 bomber aircraft. Surrounded by pursuit aircraft, the X-15 was released over Lake Smith Ranch at 10:19 a.m. local time. However, something unexpected happened. The engine ran for 84.5 seconds instead of the expected 83, and the upward trajectory was 0.5 degrees steeper than anticipated. These minor changes had a significant effect. The X-15 not only hit Mach 5.5, around 3,710 miles per hour, but it also reached an astonishing height of 347,800 feet, exceeding the mission's intended ceiling by 31,200 feet. This technically placed Walker in space, making him the first civilian to achieve this feat. After a thrilling 11 minutes and 25 seconds of unrestrained flight, Walker skillfully maneuvered the X-15 through re-entry and safely touched down at Edwards Air Force Base's Rogers Dry Lake, concluding a mission that exceeded the high standards its ambitious planners had set. On August 22, 1963, Joe Walker locked himself into the X-15's cockpit for another flight approaching space exploration. His 91st mission set an ambitious goal, reaching the astounding height of 360,900 feet, striving to push beyond the limits of Earth's atmosphere and into space. The flight plan was meticulously crafted, with an 84-second engine burned at 360,000 feet to ensure this bold mission would make its mark in the annals of aviation history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts. Your support helps us create more great content. Thanks for watching.